My name is Rick Lopez, and I'm the proud superintendent of Garland ISD. For all of you that aren't aware, because some people don't live in our community, we service 3 areas. It's going to be Garland, Rowlett, and Saxe. And the best name for all 3 is called Garland ISD. So when I say Garland ISD, we're talking about all 3. And I'm very proud today to talk to you about the State of the District Address. One of the themes that you see right there, you see that little line, that electricity, that part of light that's going on. We call that the GISD effect. What we found is COVID has really darkened our days. COVID has really put a damper on a lot of things, on how we see, how we feel, how we interact, how social media has flipped. It was always a place of negativity, but now it just seems like it's a magnet for those that want to be sharing in each other's misery, right? It seems like we can't get out of the rut, which creates more frustration. We have political divide. We have all these things going on. And guess what? Anything that's going on in society is always going to be in the schools. You can't get away from it. So we call it the GISD effect. And the GISD effect, you'll always see a poster that's black and white. That represents the current state of where people's mindset, feelings, just their overall energy is. It's black, it's dark, it's not where it is. But with the spark that you're going to see, you could change something that's very black and white to in living color. And that's the GISD effect. So you're going to see that theme going on throughout the whole presentation. And you're going to catch on. And then you're going to start realizing like who and what is that GISD effect. And we'll get to it. So the GISD effect starts with the team of 8. These people have been very courageous for a year and a half. What you didn't see behind the scenes, or maybe you did, is when COVID started, that we were meeting weekly. We started our visioning. Things were changing at a moment's notice. When we started our pandemic, remember it was a week closure, then it was 2 weeks, and then what are we going to do? And then the kids never showed up. That was a lot of learning loss that happened during that time. And then we started school last year. And if you remember when we started school last year, at this time it was virtual. Why? Because the argument wasn't masks. It was keeping schools closed for undisclosed amount of time. So some schools opened in October. We made up our mind that we're starting school in August with the 4-week window that TA gave us, and we were going to start school right away. But there's so many moving parts and so many changes, and these people have been continually focused on the prize, which is our students and our teachers. With that, we have something called Roundtable. The Roundtable meets weekly, and they deal with the big projects. So many things are vetted, competing theories are given. It's really some place where we could just put everything on the line and just discuss it to its fullest. And a lot of things never make it out of that office because they're just not worth doing, right? So I want to thank my Roundtable for everything they've done during this pandemic. A lot of people have been asking me like, man, how are you doing? They always come up to me, how are you doing? How are you feeling? I'm great. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm great. If the family's good, I'm good, right? That's generally how it works. But the second reason why I'm good is because behind these people is an army of competent people that are dedicated to the district like no other. I have a super team, you all. If you're part of the Garland ISD, please stand to be recognized. So, in full transparency and all honesty, it's them that is getting it done on a daily basis. They're the ones monitoring and making sure everything is getting right. And you know what? When you have highly trained, competent people that are graced under pressure, you know what? It makes it easy for us to keep moving forward. You see, we have a very complex organization. We have over 7,000 staff members, 71 campuses. We're an enterprise, y'all. This isn't just a small little schoolhouse system. If you look at our demographics, 51%, that's going to be the majority, are Hispanic. We have about equal representation in white and African American and a growing representation in Asian, 9.1%. But when we look at something, a very telling statistic up here is our economically disadvantaged rate. During COVID, it rose to 71%. So almost, when you look at the 53,400 kids we're serving, almost 3 out of every 4 are economically disadvantaged. How many of you would have realized that in such a robust education system? It's hard to really put things together when then you start looking at that and you think of the high standards and everything else that's going into the district. That's why these people are exceptional. So we are a very complex district with competing needs that is serving children like no other. So let's get into the GISD effect. We talked about the lines and impacting lives and everything else. And so when we talk about the GISD effect, there's a big effect that it's having on us that in some cases we've been reactive to, and in some cases we've been proactive to. And that's COVID. And you're going to see that theme because this is the state of the district. What state are we in today? We're in a COVID state, y'all. I want you to look at this. Is this a happy photo? It's black, it's white, it's missing a lot of the color. And what has happened is COVID has hit us in different areas. Remember I said every social thing that happens in America is found in our schools. You can't separate it. We don't have the novelty of saying these are the things we're going to let in. People's personal beliefs are always found in our schools. So in this part, we talk about health and safety. And we look at COVID. We have now a new Delta variant. We were celebrating in June, right? Saying, man, it looks like the light is at the end of the tunnel. And then boom, we get hit with this COVID Delta variant that we're dealing with as we speak. People forget classrooms were built for efficiency. They weren't built for social distancing. If we built social distance classrooms, they would be taking miles long, you all, in schools. So a lot of people are like, we need to social distance in the classroom. Well, when everybody's there, there's no way that can happen. We have no vaccine federally approved by students for 12 years and under. New dilemma. The COVID Delta variant is now contagious with the young students. We hadn't seen that before. And then finally, guess what? This is no surprise. TEA keeps changing their protocols. So it's yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And we're a rule-abiding agency, you all. We've always followed the rules. We feel like modeling the rules will always yield the best efforts because although we're in COVID right now, there's going to be something later down the road that comes up and people are going to ask us to violate the rules again. And as long as we're consistent, we're modeling the expectation of great citizenship. But now we got light. Why? What was the effect that's bringing us color? We have a temporary mask requirement that's coming up, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We have free COVID vaccines in our partnership with the city. You all give them a big round of applause. They are going to every high school and offering free vaccines, and the power in that is this. The students that are eligible don't need their parent to be there if they sign the proper paperwork. You know, these are working adults that sometimes cannot get their kids to get the immunization. And now that it's FDA approved for 16 and older, it makes all the difference in the world. We have remote conferencing, we have quarantining, sanitizing. Matter of fact, we sanitize more than most school districts sanitize. And it's funny because we forget all the things we do. And I'll never forget, we gave a presentation one day about sanitation and how we do it every night. And then the next day came out an article on how the misting, we'll just call it misting, is ineffective after a week because of blah, 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 right? And the school was figuring that out and kids were getting sick. And so they call us, like, when are we misting? Every day on our buses. And we never stopped that. And so when you look at the face shields and you look at, we have employee COVID leave so they don't lose their days. All of this was approved by the board looking out for what was best, the teacher and the student. Those are the two most important people that we need to make sure we have. The most important thing, and this is vision right here, is there's an RN in every campus. That was done prior to all of this. We're one of the few districts that have an RN at every campus, and at high schools we have two. These are a lot of the things that we're facing, and we're actively getting people in. We're fully staffed right now with RN nurses. We want to get more to spare, but this is something that we've always done. Contact trace, everything. We are ahead of the curve when it comes to safety protocols. Now, looking at this picture, is this a good moment or a bad moment? Yeah, it's a COVID moment, right? Remember there was a Polaroid moment? Now this is a COVID moment. What is this COVID moment? We got philosophical differences on masks, personal freedoms, vaccines. Those things that you hear outside of every arena are directly in our school system right now. And we can't get away from it. It's within our teaching staff, it's within our students, it's with our parents, it's with our administration. Okay? All of those things don't bring us happiness. Okay? And so there's a no win-win situation. But we still respond to it. We have a temporary mask order right now because of all the competing mandates that are going on. Okay? So we're under a government order, GA 38, that basically says that masks cannot be mandated at schools. We're not allowed to mandate vaccines. We're not allowed to ask anybody if they're vaccinated unless they've been test positive for COVID or are testing for COVID. Okay? Those are a lot of big restrictions. And we know that there's no perfect solution because some people have their personal beliefs. But what we did was create a mask exemption requirement temporarily till October that says if you're an employee, you need to mask, but if you have religious or medical documentation that doesn't require you to mask, you're out. And with students, it's up to philosophical. Now, one of the things about the philosophical differences, people are like, well, then nobody's going to mask. Well, Plano ran something similar, and they're about 8% of their students not masking. Leander ran something similar, and they're at about 10% not masking. So when you start looking at it, it really increases the amount of kids wearing masks, not wearing masks. But you know what can change? The lawsuits, and the Texas Supreme Court can go and just take away all of these privileges and say you got to follow GA 38, and then we follow it again. Okay? But we're proceeding with a lot of logic and sensitivity to all parties. Because once again, we want to remain safe, but we want to make sure that each and every person has their personal, whatever tendencies they have, acknowledged. But the second thing is, we wanted to make sure more people are vaccinated. So we did mobile clinics in partnership with the city, and we started putting that out. And guess what? The first day we did it at Rowlett, they said it was the highest amount of COVID shots they ever gave at a mobile clinic, which was 40. Okay? So think about that. The first one was 40. I don't have the numbers for the other ones that came about. We did a whole week's worth. We're starting week 2 this week. All of that is positive. All of those are positive things. And so I know my daughter qualified for the booster already, and when she's at Saxe High School, I went to Saxe and brought her in, got her booster shot. And you know what? It took longer to wait. You know how you have to wait after the shot? That took longer to wait than to go through the whole process, and I didn't get preferential treatment. I know you're like, well, yeah, you got cuts. No, I didn't. All right? So it went by so smoothly, y'all, that it's really going to hopefully make an impact. But also we have a lot of people on the fence. So we created a stipend, and it's $500. And if they get their shot, then guess what? And they get both their shots. They're going to get a $500 stipend. They have till December. If they already got it, they get their stipend. And if they get their booster, they get an additional $250. Okay? We feel that we don't know if there's another variant coming. The more people we can get vaccinated, the better off we can be long term. Here's another effect. STAR. This is what we've been worried most about, and it's the learning loss that has happened in our district. When we were going through this learning loss in April of 2020, we were talking about this learning loss with the commissioner, and they did these studies for us, and they brought them to us that when Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, it was only not even close to what happened in COVID, right? And the most impacted learning loss wasn't reading, it was math. And just in that few short months of time, that learning loss took 5 years to recoup for math. Okay? Some of these kids haven't been in school in a year and a half. We saw it through our scores. And these are the drops that were experienced. But guess what else we're seeing? High levels of anxiety through social emotional being, illness, family stresses, people moving. I mean, we literally have people picking up and moving. And we don't know where they've gone, why, until they re-register. All right? It's a real thing, you all. And so these stressors are affecting how we're attending the kids' social emotional learning. Our attendance enrollment declined dramatically last year. Kids just disappeared. We don't know where they went. And then finally, the retention rates from K through 8 was 288 students total. That's higher than we normally have. Now, when you think of the 26,000 kids that are in elementary, that is a good number, but we do better than that. And that's 288 kids that may have had a better opportunity had we not had COVID. So when we talk about that, this is our response to learning loss. We now are having more face-to-face instruction than ever before. Right now we did a temporary virtual learning environment. We have 1,200 students there. That's way down from the virtual schools that we had in the past. We have an intercession plan. We have laser-focused academies. We did this whole approach that we're going to really focus on academic recovery like no other. So guess what we did? We double-blocked reading and math in the early grades. Let me say that again. We double-blocked reading and math in the early grades. So what does that mean? Kids are getting twice as much reading and math than they've ever gotten before. Okay? Because we're doubling down. We also putting some of the best teachers with the most neediest students. If you look at it, there's a new thing called House Bill 4545, and it's supposed to boost student achievement, and it's a Garland ISD tutor program, which I hope some of you will know someone, if not you, to participate in. Now, it's not like just you show up once a week and tutor. This is like almost a full-time job. High school has to have a tutor for 4 hours straight. Elementary has to have a two hours straight. And it's hard to find people for just those part-time activities. So whenever we're talking about these type of things, it's like you can't find wait people because they're not getting paid enough. Trying to find those type of tutors are just as difficult. And then also the learning supports. This is one of my pride and joys right here. It's called T-Class. So I got a call from the commissioner, and he called me up personally. He said, hey, I have this innovative thing. I got some money from the federal government, and this is my idea. I said, let me get a team together and see what it does. Well, it was a very resource-rich initiative. It's called T-Class. But because we're Garland, okay, because we're Garland, we said, well, if you really want this to work, let us create a whole system around it. And we did. And guess what? The state said, we like this better than our plan, and made that T-Class plan for the rest of the state to follow. So when you see this T-Class money that goes out to all these school districts across the state, know that it has Garland ISD written all over it. Our team, really wrote it for them. We partnered with them, so we'll just say that. But that's how extraordinary the people are here, that they're following our lead. And we weren't the only school district they called. Matter of fact, they were modeling this grant off another school district. And I won't mention the school district's name. So our people are extraordinary, you all. And given the right type of climate, it's going to be very impactful. You're going to be very proud to see how we recover from this. Also, during COVID, we had some academic successes. We saw our failures, reading and math scores, especially in K through 8. But our high schools did well. Let me say it again, our high schools did well. All 7 of them. Not just one, all 7. It's not like the law of averages that we're carrying things through. We're measured mainly on 3 things in high schools. End of course exams. How many kids are passing those? Okay? If they pass those, they get to graduate. So that's the second thing. How many are graduating? Okay? And the third thing is, are kids college, career, military ready? As a matter of fact, I remember my first meeting, I got cornered by Mark King. And he comes up to me and he says, Rick, we need to get these kids college, career, military ready. And I go, you're right. We got to do that. He goes, I heard the rate is low. I go, it's low, but watch it go up. In that rating, I want you to think about this, and I want you to take you back a few times. When we were in March and April, there were schools, and you saw it in the paper, calling seniors to mandatory show face-to-face because they were having such a low turnout in high school seniors doing well in school. They were failing, they weren't going to graduate, much less being college, career, military readiness. When I got here, in 2017, this is my board. I got here in 2017, my first day is 2018, and they said, one of our proudest achievements is our graduation rate. We're higher than the region and we're higher than the state, okay? And I was like, yes, you guys have a great graduation rate of 90%. They're like, we want it 95. I'm like, what? Like really? Like, holy mackerel, these are standards. Because whenever you only have 10% to work with, it's harder. It's harder. And I said, all right, let's get the game plan going. During COVID, our graduation rate even increased then. We're almost at that goal, 94.5% during COVID. During COVID, total number of credits earned by students with Dallas College, 30,050 during COVID. During COVID, four-year Texas public university system saved. Think about this. This was saved. $13 million, $13.5 million. Saved $600,000 in just books and resources. And the most important thing of all, if a rating came out this year for our high schools, for college, career, military readiness, all 7 of the high schools, South, North, Garland, Naaman, Lakeview, Rowlett, and Sachse would have gotten A's. That's the power of GISD in this effect. I'm so proud of them. Also success, what are we known for? We're known for career choice. It's not just about going to college, it's about getting ready for life. How many of you knew we have over 200 CTE programs available for our students? 200. I can't even name one whenever I was going to high school, right? 200 programs. Our CTE facility allowed students to come in. They were the first ones to say, if you're coming, you got to go face to face because you cannot learn trades virtually, you all, right? And so they were the first ones saying, either you come or you don't. And they thought enrollment was going to drop because of that mandate, and it didn't. It was just a phenomenal vision. Then guess what? We took it one step further. We're saying pre-K for all this year. We want to get kids started earlier on this recovery slide. We've never really offered full-day pre-K, much less pre-K for all, and we did it all during COVID, and we're getting more and more kids and parents to buy in. This type of visioning comes from the board. This type of visioning is something that we celebrate. And the coolest part about these CTE programs is we have a P-Tech at every one of our high schools. So kids don't have to select necessarily away from their school to go to a P-Tech program. They're choosing a P-Tech program based on their interest, not on the school. Where before it was based on the school because it was only offered very limitedly. So these kids are now getting opportunities like never before. National teacher shortage. We're feeling it, y'all. We're feeling the pinch. Teachers are opting out. Matter of fact, wages are going up to the point where teachers can make more money outside of teaching than staying in teaching. So if they're opting out, where are they going? All over. But a lot of people either retired, that were retirement age, or found a different career. And so this is the same shortage that we're seeing in the health industry. So when we hear about a lot of the problems that are happening with the shortage of staff and everything in the health industry, it's also happening in the education industry. And what doesn't contribute to it is the negativity that we see in social media. People that read that internalize it, and they're thinking, man, I am a reflection of the district. I go above and beyond, and I'm not getting any recognition that I deserve. And so it's creating a stress. But in GISD, while there is a national teaching shortage, we have 98% of our teachers already filled, okay? So the ones that we're having a hard time are the specialized ones. Your special ed or your bilingual or a certain type of teacher in the high school. But for the most part, we have 98.5% of our teacher filled. So we're doing better than other school districts, a lot better, especially ones our size. We also are doing a substitute recruitment sub-incentive, and we use ESSER 3 funds, because what we're doing now is if you stay with us, next year you'll get $2,000, right? So if you're here this year and you stay till next year, you get $2,000. For those that were here last year that are here with us this year, they get $2,000. So that's going to be above any pay raise we give. That's going to be above everything else. Plus, we're a TIA district, which is not up there. That's a teacher incentive allotment. And so if teachers score well in our district, considering you know how poverty rich we are, the higher they scored, the more money they get from the state. We have teachers that can make about $28,000 more a year on incentives. Okay, so all of these things makes us a place to be. So diversity and equity also hit us. We forget about that. These are social issues that hit us. When we talk about diversity and equity, we talk about a lot of different things that are going on in the nation. But in true Garland fashion, we took the bull by the horns and we did some things. Look at this. We needed to update a mascot. We had overrepresentation with certain groups in special education, underrepresented in advanced academic programs. And then boom, what did we do? We said, all right, in the middle of a pandemic, let's change the mascot once and for all for South Garland. And it was a complete success, y'all. This year, it's the first year ever, history of the making, year of the Titans, South Garland Titans. And we changed the imagery, the flooring, we kept the colors. That's the kids in their new uniforms. There's their coach, really, really proud. And, you know, it's just something special about being part of the changing in history while still honoring the past. We're not going to be chastising what happens in the past, but we're honoring the future, and the future is the Titans. We also are addressing disproportionality. We're now looking at everything through a disproportionality lens, or we should call it proportionality. We want everything to be in proportion to one another, whether it's in special ed, resources, advanced academics, those type of things. We're taking a big look, and it started with a resolution that happened during COVID. The board adopted a resolution that says, hey, we're going to make sure all our kids hit the highest levels. No exceptions. We put cameras in every special ed class now. Think about that. The most fragile students are now going to have eyes on them all the time. And it was a board initiative that through board action, they make sure they were activated, believe it or not, you have to make sure they're activated. And they said, we're going to put in cameras at every current classroom, and then we're going to put in cameras in any future classroom that has self-contained students. That is huge. That is showing that the most vulnerable population is always going to have eyes on them. And then we started doing more school action fund grants, and that means we're going to have more magnet programs than ever before. And so we got approved for 6 more what we call magnet type schools to expand the current ones we already have. So in the coming year, you're going to see 6 schools emerge. In middle schools, you're going to see it's going to be Coyle and Lyles, okay? They're going to be emerging as a magnet campus. We're using the community's input to help develop them. And then we got 4 other elementaries. And so with that, understand that those are going to provide equity and access to so many different students, because the more lanes we have on the highway, the more kids can drive on them, right? And that's what we're doing. We're providing more lanes. Finally, resources are scarce. When we talk about the scarcity of resources, we're talking about different types of things. If we look at it, our efforts were felt in the school districts, from financial losses to limited accessibility with their platforms, whether it be a laptop, a hotspot, all of those things. And if you remember back in the time that we're going through, like, people were losing their jobs. People didn't have access to school. It was a whole different thing. But because we were already fortified with our one-to-one effort, and we had a lot of resource-rich initiatives, we transitioned, well, I'll say transition, we pivoted quickly. And this is what came out of it. Look at this. Free mobile clinics Vaccines at every high school. Once again, I can't stress that enough. That's the first in this DFW area. People aren't doing that. I don't know why, but I guess it's just the Garland way. We're going to set the tone. We're partnered with Hazel Health. Believe it or not, we have a Hazel Health where it's teledoctors. That provided so many different resources and help whenever we were being overrun, especially with our nurses. Our school breakfast and lunch, our SNS cafeteria workers really came through. Do you know why they came through? They served over 1 million meals. Over 1 million meals during COVID. They were out there and just working it. Extraordinary bunch of people. And the funniest thing I got is because we were constantly working, and I get a call and they're like, hey, got an issue, Lopez. And I go, what's going on? They're like, we got people from Forney, Richardson, Dallas, Rockwall, Wiley, Fate, and they just started naming all these districts that are in line for food. What do we do? I'm like, well, they drove that far. Feed them, feed them. And then when we started doing that, we were part of the active voices that was telling the federal government, it can't be limited to our area. Things are too mobile right now. And they granted us relief for allowing them to be fed. But we didn't question it. We let them do it without looking for reimbursement, because that's how we move forward. Students have access to private cell networks with our mobile hotspots. But how many of you here, just by raise of hands, use your phone and you're like looking at something to download and it just seems to just go slow sometimes, right? You're looking at a video, you're maybe even TikToking, right? And you're like, it froze again. Well, that's what mobile hotspots do. Mobile hotspots work just like your cell phones. You don't always have instant access. So the board, because the board had vision, even back in the day they had vision, we have our own fiber, right? And I'm not talking about dietary fiber. I'm talking about fiber optics. We're one of the few school districts that have our own fiber optics. So because we have our own fiber optics, we can build our own cell towers. Because we can build our own cell towers, we could build our own hotspot network that's faster than what Sprint or AT&T or Verizon provide. Okay, so we're putting our first tests out there. And matter of fact, during Labor Day, it's going to be built, and hopefully we can get it live soon so we could really see its impact. And the radius is almost about 2 miles, and we're hoping to hit about 3,800 students within those first 2 miles. Okay, and that's going to be at Jackson, and then the second tower is going to be built at MPA. So we're going to test those, and if those work out, we're going to build our own wireless network. And it's going to be cool because the kids can actually then do their homework, because some of the homework isn't allowable on there. So that's the GISD effect right there. So when you talk about it, it doesn't matter who you are, what you do, you are part of the GISD effect. So when we say who is the GISD effect, it's you. Who is the GISD effect? It's us. Good. I'm glad you didn't say it's you, because that means it'll be me. You're a smart crowd. You're paying attention. So it's all of you. You're the GISD effect. You see, when there's negativity out there, you can now start shedding light on it, right? You don't have to absorb the negativity anymore. You need to shed light on it. You need to change the direction of where that's going. You can provide information. You can provide support. You can provide hope. You can provide a lot of these things. You are the GISD effect. It's not just us. It's you in every walk of life. And imagine if all of us started trying to be the light rather than keep the darkness. Okay? And some of us, we shy away from it. We see it, we walk away from it. I don't want to be part of that. Some of us, we're feeling our feelings, and we're victims of it, and then we put it back on there too. Some of us are the light. But imagine if we all changed our mindset, what we could do on the social emotional well-being of all the people that we're surrounded by. That's going to be your impact. And with that, I want to show you this video.
We are all connected to something bigger than ourselves. Change one thing, change everything. The things we do today, all of us, have an extraordinary impact on a child's future. A better child a better world. GISD has a ripple effect on our community. Every interaction, every caring moment, every lesson can positively affect our future leaders. You have impact, a true lasting impact. Never underestimate the effect you have on a student's life. We are Garland ISD, impacting lives, changing futures. It's what we call the GISD effect.
Isn't that a great video? Yeah. So when we talk about the GISD effect is you once again. And we need to change the narrative. This is how we get in front of things. We no longer need to be reactive to what's going on in the changing environment. We no longer have to be responsive to what's going on. We've been in this year and a half already. Let's take control of what the narrative is going to be, at least in our great community. I'm not concerned about what happens east, west, or north of us. I really am not. I have no control over those communities, and nor do I want to expend any energies on them. I can only expend energies on ourselves. And these energies that we expend on ourselves, sometimes we need to be re-energized. And there's nothing wrong for you going up and say, hey, Nita, energize me, man. I need some fuel, right? Gas me up, right? That's what we do with our cars, right? We gas each other up. That's what we got to do. And in Garland, in order to be the GISD effect, there's a number of things that we could do. And there's a number of things that we're going to request of you. Got homework. We're going to ask you to be our partner. If you can help us find tutors, if you can help us find substitutes, if you can get the word out that, hey, don't go to other districts, come to GISD, they got to figure it out, we're the winning team. When our recovery efforts come through, you want to be part of the winner, and the winner is going to be Garland. We want you to be our advocate. We want you to set people straight on what the truth is and what's not. We want you to feel free to say, hey, you know what, we're standing up for GISD. Because it's not only protecting our students, it's protecting our workforce. This is the biggest workforce in the Tri-City areas. If Garland ISD thrives, the 3 areas thrive. And how can we make sure that we protect our greatest investment? Our greatest investment is our students, but the ones that affect them most are our teachers. If we could keep and retain the best teachers here and make them feel like this is the city that loves our teachers the most, doesn't matter your pay. Teachers will go where they're valued. They're not going to look just for the highest salaries. That's the way they operate. And they're going to want to perform. And the last thing we say, besides donate to the Garland Education Foundation that supports students and teachers, is be the effect. Change the mindset of if whatever is going on out there on proactive ways where you could be effect. It's been a difference maker for me throughout this pandemic, and I know that'll be a difference maker for you. Are you with me? Yeah.